joining us tonight. If you don't know me, I'm Stephen Pulverient. I'm a writer, creative director, longtime friend of IWC. And we have two incredible guests here with us tonight. We can all take seats. To my left, we have Mr. Peter Safran. Peter is the producer of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and the recently appointed co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios, along with writer-director James Gunn, as well as the president and founder of the Safran Company, a leading Hollywood production house. In collaboration with Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Studios, and New Line Cinema, his films have grossed over $3 billion at the worldwide box office, and he continues to produce the Conjuring franchise, which is the highest-grossing horror franchise of all time. But this evening, we couldn't be more excited to have Peter joining us to share his incredible insights into Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And then to my other side, we have Mr. Christian Knoop, IWC's Chief Design Officer. Christian began his career at a number of international design agencies, working across both product design and brand consulting. And now he's been leading IWC's design culture for 14 years, during which time he's put his fingerprints on nearly every aspect of the brand's visual footprint. His eye for detail and unique creative vision set him apart in the watch industry and brings tremendous value to IWC's customers, whether they always realize it or not. He's one of my favorite people to talk to about the culture of watches, and I'm thrilled he came all the way from Schaffhausen to a rainy Los Angeles to join us today. So thank you, and sorry about the weather outside.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Peter, I thought we'd start with you, since everything we're going to talk about tonight is anchored in the film we just got a quick little preview of. I thought maybe you could start us off by telling us a little bit about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Sure. You know, the first Aquaman movie is the highest-grossing movie in the DC franchise ever. And we knew that if we were going to make a sequel, it would really have to be worthy of what the first movie did. And so, you know, we wanted to explore new worlds, new environments above and below the surface of the ocean. And we really wanted to make sure that Arthur Curry, Aquaman's journey, was something unique and special. Over the course of the first film, you know, here's a guy who is half Atlantean, half human. He felt like he didn't belong anywhere. And what he came to discover was that his otherness is what made him belong everywhere. So that was the message of the first movie, and we needed to figure out what would really be worthy for a second movie. And, you know, as you'll see when you see the film, it's really about bringing his family together. So that's where we are.
Amazing. And when you first heard about the opportunity to collaborate with DC Studios and with the Aquaman team, what excited you about the prospect of this project?
I mean, I love the Aquaman 1. With like many science fiction films, I'm always amazed as a designer how much effort goes into the creative aspect of these films. I'm deeply impressed with what all set designers and costume designers are able to pull off in these films to create all this underwater architecture, the vehicles, the creatures, the costumes. I mean, this is, for me as a designer, is really a celebration of creativity. And then to have the opportunity to become a little part of that for me and the entire design team was super exciting. And Chris, our CEO, he's trained as an architect, so he's also very much involved in the design aspect of the brand. And when he had the opportunity to talk to James in one of the very first calls, I mean, we all got super excited in little Schaffhausen to become part of that.
Amazing. And you touched on the fact that this is a huge production, and IWC is just a part of it. And Peter, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit, for a film of this scale and scope and ambition, how do you make sure that every little aspect of the production design is just so?
You know, James is really one of the most diligent filmmakers in the business. There's a reason why he's been the creator of, I think, 4 major franchises now with Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, and Aquaman. He just really knows what he's doing. He's a complete filmmaker in every sense. And one of the things that's so important to him is the design element. And you know, you see it in the first film, you certainly see it in the second film, and he wanted to make sure that this second movie felt different and unique from the first one. And so he leaned into the Silver Age comics, and you see that in the design of Manta's teammates. You know, kind of the look of their suits is very much Silver Age. The kind of retro style of the big, the giant submarine that they're in. All this ancient Atlantean technology harkens back to the Silver Age of comic books. But James there's not a frame of film that he does not get in there and art direct. He is so specific. We have a tremendous production designer named Bill Bresky, who's worked with James for a long time. He is also a real artist. He takes his job extraordinarily seriously. And our pre-production period it's long. We spend 6 months developing the look and feel of the movie before we ever get to shoot a frame. So, James is just one of those guys. And so, when we went to him, with this the IWC opportunity, he loved the authenticity of that connection. The fact that they were so connected already to the sea, to the ocean. He would never have tried to shoehorn in a brand. It was really important that it felt authentic. And it was really easy with IWC. I remember we had that long call. We just said, "You interested?" And he's like, 100%. These are our partners.
Amazing. And once that happens, you now have the tall task in front of you of designing the watches. And so we have 4 watches here with us tonight. It's 2 prop watches from the film and 2 production watches inspired by those. Can you just quickly walk us through the watches just so we have a handle on that?
So before we talk about these watches, you have to imagine that basically we as the design team in Schaffhausen keep working on the assets and the DNA of these collections constantly. Only a fraction of the designs we generate in Schaffhausen will make it to the market in the end. But we keep pushing the boundaries and keep innovating on this more than 150-year-old brand and trying to do all kinds of things with the different collections like Pilot, Portofino, but also Aquatimer. And even in times where these collections are not in the focus, our design team is still pushing the boundaries. They're trying to find new materials, new looks, new technologies, really to make sure the next generation is superior and really we can build into the future. And so it happens also that we are working on the Aquatimer collection. We were working on cool concepts back then that we actually brought to the table in the conversation with James that were future concepts on Aquatimer, where we explored new ways of not only shaping the design but also improving visibility, luminosity, and stuff like this. And this is what he immediately jumped on and said, okay, this is something that can serve as a base to tune that to the costume designs of the films. And from there on, we had a clear vision. Okay, we want to start from there and create movie prop watches. And usually, when we design watches, we have very long development times. This can easily be 2 or 6 years to develop a new watch, a new movement. But then in the movie business, everything has to move fast. And then after we locked the design, they said, okay, can you send over some watches in 10 days to shooting location in London? And so that's not the way we typically work. So we had to create a special workforce of designers, engineers, and electronics guys really that were working day and night to make this happen. And were able in the end to create some movie prop watches that were not only looking good, but they were also designed to the requirements of what they need to film action scenes, to film fights, to film all this really very intense interaction with costumes and props. They need to produce such a film. So each of the watches had 2 backups, and this was all sent to London for filming back at the time. And then from there, basically, we said, okay, these watches are so cool, it would be a shame when we come out with this film and with results and not have something for our customers, because people will love the story, people will love the design of the prop watches, and they will ask us, call Chris and myself, okay, are you not able to do a special edition? Can't you do something about it? And then the idea came, okay, let's do some watches that have a design that is derived from the movie prop watches, but stand on its own and really are able to be added to the story of Aquaman. And then we decided on the chronograph perpetual calendar digital day date as the most prestigious pieces within the flagship or most flagship collection pieces in Aquatimer, and created two very strict limited editions of 25 pieces each, individually numbered and really picking up the look of the movie clock watches.
Amazing. And we have as well, for anyone who hasn't gotten a chance to see them yet, we have all 4 watches here tonight, so you'll have a chance after we chat to take a bit of a closer look. Peter, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but specifically with James's excitement around the watches, but how does something like this get integrated into the creative process of building a world in a film like this?
You know, the great filmmakers like James Wan or like a James Gunn, they're never going to want to integrate something that doesn't feel authentic, that doesn't feel right. So, you know, I think you'll find that IWC is in fact, I believe, the only real partner visibly in the movie. Predominantly because we're in Atlantis for a lot of the film, so it doesn't, you know, but it really is, you know, the fact that it was such an authentic fit made it very doable. And so, you know, again, you know, we were offered a lot of different opportunities, and James frankly turned them down because it just didn't work with the aesthetic of the film. The fact that IWC was willing to work with our props and our production design and our wardrobe to find something that really worked with Black Manta's suit, you know, that was great. That's the kind of partnership we're looking for, something really collaborative, and that's what this was.
Amazing. And I've asked about building worlds, but I think it's important to emphasize that many of the worlds we're seeing in this film are being expanded upon. They were shown in the first film. So when you're doing that, how do you think this film expands on what people maybe have already seen without giving too many spoilers?
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately in this film, you have Arthur partnering up with his brother Orm, who at the end of the first film had been thrown in prison. And Orm hates him. They have a terrible relationship, but now Arthur has to rely on Orm to provide the information to lead on his journey. So it's really the two of them together on this big, you know, globe-trotting journey, and we go to so many locations and environments that we haven't seen in the first movie. As I said, both above and below the surface, and they're super cool. You know, James was so excited to be able to create and expand the world that he had delved into in the first movie, and I think when people see this, they'll really be blown away.
Amazing. And Christian, you've designed quite a few watches in your day, but I would assume this was a bit of a unique challenge. How is designing a prop watch for a film different than designing a commercial product, kind of at the most fundamental level?
Yeah, there's two aspects that are definitely different. That is really designing to a concrete costume. This is almost like designing a team watch also for other partners we have, like Formula 1 and so on, where we take really the look from the team and combine this actually with the design DNA of the collection, like in this case, Aquatimer. But for the rest, I mean, it still is something where we will still look forward and develop a collection towards the future and push the boundaries in terms of technical innovation. I think this is very, very, very comparable to a commercial product development.
By the way, I gotta say, what you did for the film, the prop watch is beautiful, but what you brought to retail is really spectacular. It's a stunning watch.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And Peter, when you first started working on this project, was there a particular aspect of the Aquaman universe or of Arthur's story that you knew you wanted to push further and kind of take to the next level?
Yeah, I knew that we kind of told the Arthur Mara story in the first movie, and I love the idea of telling the Arthur Orm story. Two guys that really loathe each other at the beginning of the movie, that are forced to work together, and kind of the family resolution that comes at the end of it. Just the idea that, you know, these two guys are ultimately brothers, and can they find a way to work together? So I knew we wanted to explore that, and that there's a lot of humor in the relationship between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson, and I think people are going to be really happy when they witness that.
Amazing. Yeah, the sort of human and emotional component is obviously at the core of this story, but you've touched on the use of technology and the inspiration from the Silver Age comics. Can you talk to us a little bit about the sort of technological perspective maybe that we'll see in this film?
Yeah, you know, we made this film, you know, this was 3 or 4 years after we made the first film, so the technology we used to make it is very, very different. In the first film, all the underwater scenes where people are swimming, we actually had them on these things called tuning forks, which are these long rails. They were harnessed up from the waist, and they would be literally shuffled around the set by puppeteers. And it was painful, it was uncomfortable, it was very time consuming. But in this film, we use a brand new innovation called the eyeline, which allows us to photograph an actor with 157 cameras at once, and then we can take their image, digitize it, and then have it do anything we want it to do. So all of the swimming sequence, all the underwater sequences in this film, like that you're watching right now, those are all done with the eyeline system. So it was brand new innovation, and it worked beautifully, and it made us able to do things that it allowed us to do things we weren't able to do in the first film.
Amazing. And Christian, one thing I wanted to ask you about is when you're designing the prop watches for the films, you obviously haven't seen the film. So how are you trying to draw inspiration and ideas that you know will relate to the film and the story, kind of, while in some ways you're flying a bit blind here?
Not at all. I think that was very special also in this project, that also James and the team were very open with us at the very beginning. They shared the storyboard, they shared a couple of mood boards, they shared sketches about the costumes, and this gave us a very good impression. And this is pretty much like we as designers work. We have big walls with mood boards, with inspiration, and this translate this into the product. So this didn't feel uncomfortable at all, because we were given the necessary information under strict confidentiality, obviously, that we could pretty much envision how the look is, and also James took the time to talk us through the entire story of Aquaman 2, and this was really a very good creative exchange and an incredibly open way also to involve us as a little partner into this big project.
Amazing. And he's been mentioned quite a few times by both of you, but James Wan, the director of the film, is in some ways sort of the fourth guest up here with us. And Peter, to kind of close this out, I wonder if you could talk about why you think he was the right person to make this film and what he brings that sets him apart and makes him so unique.
Yeah, and James and I worked together for a long time on a bunch of different films, starting with the first Conjuring movie that I produced, he directed, and then he came on board as a producer on all the subsequent films, some of which he directed, some of which he just produced. But he's a pretty unique guy. You know, he is a guy who comes out of independent filmmaking. He is a guy that can probably do any job on the crew. He is a design freak. He just, you know, frame fucks every single frame to make sure that it is exactly, like literally every strand of Jason's hair, which is all digital, you know, in any of the underwater scenes, he is the one making sure that it's exactly what he wants. So his perfectionism, but also it's his sense of story. There's a reason why The Conjuring was a great film, or Saw was a great film. And these are all very different kinds of movies, but he is able to tap into the human drama. He's able to tap into the commentary on the human condition. He's able to get genuine empathy for these characters. So it's so much more than the visual spectacle. And the visual spectacle is important, in fact, it's essential. But without the human component, the visual spectacle is a little bit empty. So I think that's where his real skill lies, is his ability to understand, you know, what the audience is truly going to respond to. You know, he's a fanboy himself, so what he responds to organically, they tend to respond to as well. It's not fabricated, it's really an authentic connection with the material. And in many ways, James himself felt like an outsider when he came here, much as Arthur felt like an outsider wherever he was, and I think he could really relate to that idea, and that's why he embraced it so much for the first film.
Incredible. Well, I want to make sure we have a chance for people to ask some questions. We have just a couple of minutes, but does anyone have any questions for Christian and Peter?
Hi Peter, Kevin from The Independent. I think Jason Momoa said earlier this week that he's not sure kind of what the future holds for him. I think obviously you're rebooting DC in so many ways. wonder kind of from your perspective, what does the future hold for Aquaman and for Jason in this role?
You know, when I think of Jason in this role, I mean, he is the definitive Aquaman for me. He's redefined it. And I think that he's been on this, you know, it's really been an 11 or 12 year journey for him. A lot of the audience doesn't realize that because he was cast so long ago. And it's kind of redefined him. You know, when he took this role, he was known as Khal Drogo, and now he's really Aquaman. And so what I'm hoping is that people are really here to support him in this journey. You know, if it's the end of the journey, fine. If it goes on, that's also fine. But I think that, you know, it's meant so much to him. And I think the way James crafted this second film, it feels like a very complete story when you watch the two films together. And so we'll see what happens with him beyond it. I know that Jason will always have a home at DC and at Warner Brothers. You know, in fact, his next movie is Minecraft. I'm sure that's been announced. But yeah, I mean, he'll always, you know, he's one of our great friends, great supporters, and you know, we'll see what happens. But I really hope that people will come support his potentially last stand as Aquaman.
Excellent. Anyone else? Do we really not have any other questions? Yeah, perfect.
Will IWC and be like featured in other DC movies?
Well, I think that's a conversation with Christian. I mean, I would say that based on this relationship, the way it's worked so flawlessly on this one, you know, I think we'd be thrilled, and you know, hopefully they felt the same way about the collaboration. But you know, not all of them go this smoothly. I can assure you that that's the case. But no, it's really been great for us, and you know, you always want to be associated with quality on both sides. You know, we're making quality films, they're making quality watches. You know, I think this was really a good partnership for both of us. I don't hear Christian jumping in here, by the way.
We have one more right back there.
Christian, if you could design a watch based on any movie or any TV show, what would it be?
You know, I must say that for us as designers, it's always very inspiring, really, to work on something new. I mean, we always feel very honored if our product gets picked by a movie director or by a prop monster to fit a movie and to have the classic product placement, but to get involved and work with the design team and to work on something new. I think I would be super excited to work on all kinds of either science fiction movies or thrillers or these super technical beast movies or something like this. I'm very open for all of those. I have to say.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us tonight. It was a treat, and the watches are available. We have, in this case over here, we have the production pieces, and the prop watches are there on a tray in the back. So wonderful. I encourage you to go talk to the boutique staff. They don't bite usually, and yeah, they can show you anything you want to take a look at. So thank you for joining us, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon.